When you hear the word focus, what comes to mind? If you're like most people, you will think about your ability to concentrate on something, aka to put on the blinders and focus on one thing and one thing only without getting distracted. However, that is only a tiny portion of what real focus management is about. So if you want to really improve your results, aka reach your goals, you need to know about all 4 levels of focus, which I'm going to share with you in this video, which is why you clicked on it, right? By the way, my name is Michael and welcome to this channel, because here I'm going to share with you the numerous lessons I learned in my life through even more of my mistakes. So I'm literally building this channel to be the guide and the mentor that I wish I had when I was younger. So let's go and dive into the 4 levels of focus. You've got what I call the directional level, your macro level, you've got your operational level, and then finally you have the micro level. And by the way, this thing what I talked about with concentration, that's the micro level. For each of these, I'm going to give you the 80-20 rule of focus. Meaning, if you focus on that one thing in each level, you will have most of what focus is about down. And then afterwards, you can just tweak a few things, and that's your other 20%. So, directional level. This is a lesson that I learned the hard way, and it was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life. With directional level, it comes down to which area of life are you going to tackle first. So the way I learned this lesson the hard way was that when I was about 17 or 18 years old, I tried getting into online business for myself. The years before, I was bullied, and it completely destroyed my self-esteem, my confidence. I was depressed for some time, and I had a ton of limiting beliefs. And so my brilliant idea was, you know what? I'm going to become more successful than all of my bullies could even dream of being. Great, Michael. Except I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the discipline. I felt so lonely about myself. I felt like a loser, that I felt that even if I pulled it off, I would still not be able to achieve anything. I didn't think that I could do it. So I started running in this direction of online business. Whereas instead I should have gone that route with personal growth. So for example, if you are way overweight, that could be a first priority rather than, for example, starting your own business. Because once you lose the weight, once you start to exercise more, you'll have more energy, you'll have more stamina, and now you have more resources that you can now put towards the other goal of starting a business. That is just a small example of how you can look at this. And when it comes to directional focus, what I would give you is this one tool, which is prioritization, which is very common, but most people have it flipped around. And so if you want to get better at prioritizing, you need to make a 90-degree turn. Because most people say, this thing is more important than this thing over here, which is more important than this thing over here. It's a vertical hierarchy. And I want you to take that and flip it 90 degrees around, so that now you have a horizontal timeline of this thing should come first, then this thing, and finally this thing over here. Because when you think about it like this, it's not a matter of the emotional side of which do I find more important. You can now think about it of which thing should I tackle first that gives me momentum to start tackling the other things. It's kind of like rolling a snowball down a hill. It picks up speed and it picks up momentum as it goes. So with the example of first going into personal development, if I had done that, I would be 10 times the person that I was then. And with that mindset, I could tackle business and be successful there. But because I hadn't worked on myself yet, and I threw myself into the deep, it failed utterly. And so I had the wrong sequence. I was trying to do step 17 at step number 1. So when you put it on a timeline, now you can see, you know what? Maybe I should go and network and build up my social skills first. And then I'm going to be great at networking or starting a podcast or interviewing people, whatever it is for you. It is all a sequence, and you need to find the logical progression. Do you ever feel frustrated with personal development content that just isn't practical? It only motivates you, but it doesn't give you actionable steps to move forward with your life. What if you could get practical and actionable lessons on building your confidence, on being more productive, and on building a great mindset for success? Twice a week, I send out a newsletter where I share these kinds of actionable lessons that I had to learn the hard way. So if you want to take your life to the next level, click the link below this video. Subscribe to my newsletter and you will get those actionable steps to reach your next level in life. And now back to the main video. And by the way, if you have any questions or problems that you're struggling with in your own life, please just leave me a comment below or send an email to michael@michaelmichiels.com. If I have the knowledge and the experience to answer it, I will do that either personally by replying or in one of my future videos. So if there's anything that you're struggling with, don't feel shy and leave me a comment below or an email if it's something of a more sensitive nature in terms of the information you will be sharing. Now, on the second level, your macro level, it is the following. Even when I was starting that business first time around, which is over a decade ago, I was doing a lot of blogging. I had my own blog where I was writing articles about personal development, ironically, which I only had a tiny bit of information and knowledge about. But what I did was I had this back end where I was creating some information products, where I was writing a few ebooks, and people would basically give their name and email address in exchange for the ebook, and then I would try to sell them on either my own courses or someone else's courses or some other affiliate products. And what I did was I was focusing all of my attention on this backend, creating multiple free videos that I would give away, free ebooks, free everything that I would say like, hey, give me your name and email address and I will send you this thing. In the meantime, my blog was getting like 2 or 3 visitors a day. So not nearly enough people even saw my website. And then only a tiny fraction of those would ever go and give me their name and email address. And so I failed utterly there because I was focused on the wrong things. So once you get your directional high-level focus down, on the macro level, it comes down to thinking about which activities will get you the most bang for your buck. Because it's not about how many hours you put into your workdays. It's about what you put into those hours. So for example, if there are 100 things that you can do to achieve a certain goal, maybe 3 or maybe 5 of those will be highly effective. About 80 or so will be moderately effective. And then the rest will be like non-effective at all. And so with these, you need to really write out, what can I do? Just take a piece of paper, take a pen and write down everything that comes to mind that you could do in order to achieve a certain goal. And now once you have that entire list made, what you can do is you can sit down and think, you know what? I think these 5 things are the most important factors here. And once you got those 5, you decide, okay, out of these 5, I think this is the key element. So for example, if you want to build muscle, going to the gym would be a no-brainer. And of course, you have other surrounding topics of your nutrition, your sleep, your hydration. But the main thing is you've got to work out. So once you get clear on the main priorities within a goal, that's what you should be focusing on. Because what most people do is they go for either what is most familiar, aka what they've done before, or they go for what is easiest. So for example, if you want to improve your social skills, it is very easy to open up a video and to listen to it and to watch it. But is that the most important thing when it comes to improving those? Or is it going out there to maybe a party and forcing yourself to talk to new people? Is it going to approach some people on the streets maybe? Or maybe even to start a mock YouTube channel where you do street interviews? Which of these is going to improve your social skills the most? It is not the convenient and easy thing of watching a couple of videos. It is taking the uncomfortable actions. So oftentimes, when it comes to finding the most impactful activities for any goal, it is to look at the things you're actively avoiding and then going all in on those. Because you have them on your mind already. because at some level you know they are the best way forward for you. But there is some level of fear, some level of anxiety, some limiting beliefs holding you back. And because of that reason, it is the way to go. Because when you go for the uncomfortable thing you know is good for you, not only are you making progress the fastest, you're also breaking those limiting beliefs. Because your mind is reluctant. Because it's probably something new, probably something you have some fear around, some anxiety about. And when you do it anyway, what you're doing is you're proving to yourself that you can do it, that there is nothing to be afraid of. And now with that knowledge, you can use it to break other limiting beliefs. Because now you can talk to yourself in a way where it's like, you know what? I felt the same way about going and talking to a stranger. So now I can do this as well. I broke that false belief, so I can do it again and again and again. And for that reason, on this macro level of focus on the activities that you think will get you the highest ROI, so to speak, per hour invested. And to find those, usually what you will do is you will find the things that you are scared of most. And you do those instead. All right, 2 down and 2 more to go. By the way, if you are getting value from this video, give it a quick thumbs up and share it with a friend who is also ambitious like you are. Now, the third level is the operational level. And this has all to do with your mindset as you go throughout your day. One example of this would be the following. Let's say you're going to work and you're in your car and someone cuts you off in traffic. And you start cussing and shouting and saying what kind of an idiot this guy is. And now you arrive at work. And you notice that you are still feeling anger. Even though it might be 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, you still continue on and you linger on in that emotional mindset. And now because you are angry, you start being more irritated with your co-workers, with the people you are interacting with. And it just is not a good feeling overall. And so what we feel and what we think about in some moments of our day, those have a lingering effect because the thought or feeling or emotion happens here. And usually it drags out over here over the course of minutes or even hours of our day. So what you can do on this level of focus is redirect yourself with questions. In the example of getting cut off in traffic, what you could ask yourself rather than saying, "Oh, that's such an idiot," and getting in that anger mindset. You could ask yourself, was there maybe a good reason why they are speeding? Maybe they didn't see you. Maybe they have a wife who is about to be having a baby. Maybe someone got in an accident and they needed to rush over there. So when you can ask a question and then answer it in a way where it doesn't trigger your anger. That could be an example of using questions to redirect your focus to something more positive. Another example of this would be the following. Have you ever done something stupid and you ask, "Oh my God, why am I such an idiot?" And then your brain says, "Say no more, dude. Here's the list of 999 reasons why you are an idiot." That is because you used a question to direct your focus to something that makes you feel worse, rather than something that makes you feel better. If instead you ask the question, how can I get out of this better? What can I do now? What can I do next to make this a positive experience? Now you can go and you see the opportunity that came from your mistake. Now you can see the opportunity because your mind is very obedient to your focus. Meaning that if you ask the right questions, your mind wants to answer. It's kind of like Hermione in Harry Potter. Whenever a teacher asks a question, she's like raising her hands and she's got an answer ready. Your mind is the same way, but you've got to learn to ask the right questions. Makes sense, right? One of my favorite questions to ask is, whenever anything negative happens over here, I ask myself, how is this actually a good thing? What can I do now to turn this into something better? When you ask those kinds of questions, you redirect your focus from a victim mindset, from a negative mindset, to something that's opportunity and growth related. It is action-based, and it allows you to move forward rather than staying stuck in your own head. So when you can ask better questions of yourself, you will get better focus. At an operational level, you will change your mood. And it's one of the most powerful ways in which you can literally change how you feel about certain things. All because you ask the right questions. It is incredibly powerful, my friend. And then finally, there is the micro level, which is that concentration, your ability to stay focused on one task. And for this, there are some shocking statistics. A study has shown that we can stay focused on one thing for about 30 or 40 seconds on average. Also, our mind wanders 47% of the time. That same study found that we notice we are getting distracted roughly 10 or 11 times per hour. So let me put this straight. We are getting distracted roughly 90 times per hour, and we notice it roughly 10 times. Do you see the problem? Our minds wander constantly, but we never realize that our minds are wandering, that we're not with our full focus on this one thing over here. We have a lot of focus over here, and then a little bit over there. That's how our minds work. So what you can do on this level is to focus on your focus. Meaning, start auditing yourself. As you're watching this video or you're listening to my voice, has your mind wandered into other things? Maybe what you need to do in terms of grocery shopping. Maybe do something someone said to you yesterday, and that's still in your mind. Has your mind run off in different directions while you are listening to this? And have you noticed it? So when it comes to focus on the micro level, what I want you to get into the habit of is asking yourself, am I really focused? Where is my attention going? Is it drawn away in multiple different areas? Or is it laser focused on one thing? And you do this because you want to be able to catch yourself in the act. You want to go from 90 distractions per hour and catching yourself out 10 times to maybe 85 times an hour and then catching yourself 15 times. To still that 90 or 85 times an hour, but now catching yourself 20 or 30 or 40 times. Because the more you audit, where's my attention going on a micro level? The more you ask yourself that question, as we talked about, the more you can say, my attention is drawn in these directions because of these reasons. And now the more awareness you bring to where this thing is going, your focus, the easier and the quicker you can snap yourself back and get back to the task at hand. Because the truth is, it's almost impossible to be fully 100% focused without getting distracted. Our mind is always going to pay attention to things around us that are moving. So for example, I'm seeing right now a little bug on the camera that I'm watching. That's one of the few things that my attention is drawn to. But at least I have the self-awareness to realize that I have been looking at the bug rather than the camera lens over here. That is just one small example of this. But if I had not trained myself to ask, where's my focus? Where's my attention going? I would not have been able to get that to my awareness. I would not have noticed that my mind was focusing on that thing. I would still get distracted by it, but I would just not notice I was getting distracted by it. See the difference? So with this, you want to literally snap your focus back on your focus so that you know when you need to pull yourself back and say, no, Michael, this thing is what you need to be focusing on right now. And I'll give you one bonus tip, and that is to grab a pen and a piece of paper. Whenever you want to do something where you need your focus, have that next to you at all times. And now whenever you think of something you need to do, maybe it is you need to buy a loaf of bread at the supermarket later. What you do is you go and write that down. And you say, okay, I need to do this later. I'm going to write it down. Because otherwise, your mind is going to bring it up again and again and again. And a larger part of your ability to focus is being dragged into your to-do list. If you write it down, your mind feels a certain certainty that you won't forget. And now it can let go of that thought. It can put that to-do list out of your mind so that you can focus at the task at hand. So once you write those things down, your mind's saying like, whew, I can breathe easily because it is assured that you will remember because you wrote it down. And there you have it. Those are all the 4 levels of focus. So let me break them down one more time in a summary. Firstly, you've got your directional level, meaning prioritize the right way. Which goal are you tackling first, second, third, fourth? Think about it as a horizontal timeline, where your one question is, how can I snowball things and gain momentum in life? Which goals, if achieved, will help me to steamroll into my other goals? Then you've got your macro level, because for every goal, there are some things that are going to be extremely useful, hundreds or dozens of things that are going to be moderately useful, and a lot of things that will only have a small impact. Focus on this level is about identifying which task will have an extreme impact on you achieving your goals and focusing most of your attention on those things. Then, at an operational level, it is about your mindset as you go throughout your day. And you can redirect yourself. You can redirect your mindset by asking better questions. If you ask yourself, why am I such an idiot? Your mind is going to list off everything. Whereas if you make that same mistake and you instead ask, what can I do now to make this better? Your mind is getting to work on solutions rather than putting you down or struggling with the problems. And then finally, at the micro level, one thing you can do is you ask yourself, where's my focus going? To audit yourself constantly. To ask yourself, when am I getting distracted and why? And the more you bring your attention, your focus to your focus, the easier it is for you to catch yourself out when you are getting distracted, which you will be a lot. But the quicker you can figure out, I'm getting distracted here, the quicker you can pull yourself back and get back to the task at hand. And one thing that helps with this is writing down anything you need to do that comes to mind while you work. Because your mind brings those things up because it's afraid you will forget otherwise. When you write them down, it puts your mind at ease so that you can focus on doing the right things, which is something like pressing that like button, subscribing to my channel, because I'll be seeing you and helping you in my future videos as well.